personality on our Infra show. And we have Mr. Karan, the CEO and Chairman of NOUAM. NOUAM is a Hong Kong-based financing entity, and they are very powerfully entering the Indian infrastructure and power space. And this is a very exclusive interview on Infra show. And welcome, Karanji.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor.
Karanji, first we would like to know from you, how the journey of NOUAM has started, and all these years, the fluid market conditions, the world market has not been looking up, and then investment space seem to have squeezed up, and we see huge interest in India rising, and then you are absolutely an early bird, because the interest has just come. In the Indian market, it's being said that it could be one of the top 3 markets in the world for investment. But then you saw it coming much before. So how did NOUAM traverse this path to come into India with its base globally?
Professor, NOUAM started its journey from Hong Kong, basically.
Right.
And but long before, I have to give the credit to the chairman of a major corporate who brought me here to restructure his company in 2002. At that time, when I came to India for a short trip to restructure his company, I saw the changes, the seedlings being sowed towards the changes of the change in the country's status, in the projects and in the economy, and heading towards the growth, opening up to the global sectors, and moving ahead and along with time. So that's where I formed my thought process that it's time that I come back home and I settle down here and do something here. It still took me some time.
Right.
It was not an immediate effect.
Because the economy was not what it was.
Exactly. It not geared up. It took time.
It still was.
Yes.
The toe searching seed.
Yeah. It was in the nascent stages, and initially it took time. We did a lot of R&D research on our thing, whether how to go about it, how to do things, and that's where we finally decided. And initially we started with NOUAM Hong Kong, and then later in 2010, and then a year and a half back is when we got the baby into India and we started NOUAM Financial Consultants Private Limited.
Right. So NOUAM is a entity registered in Hong Kong and with a $100 million base, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. NOUAM Hong Kong NOUAM Limited is a Hong Kong-based entity with a $100 million asset paid-up cap.
Right. So, and then this whole India thing that's coming up, the PEI space, which you famously coined, the power, energy and infrastructure, that's PEI right. Space. It is a very original thinking which has come from you. When we interviewed you for our print in MARKENOMY.
Thank you.
So, how do you look at this PEI space, if we coin it, moving in the next few years, because it needs a lot of investment in the country?
Certainly. What we know and what we think and what the statistics also shows, that huge investments are required in these sectors. PEI, as I have coined, which I term it in a shorter way, power, energy and infrastructure.
Yeah.
These 3 sectors are the most prominent sectors for the growth of any nation in the world.
Right.
And since we are in one of the upcoming nations in the world, and we want to surge ahead and meet all the global requirements and be globally competitive to any other developed country in the world,
right?
I think that we should take care and study and nurture these 3 sectors the best we can, so that it puts us on that platform where nobody would ever turn around and say, oh, India is a third world country, because India never was and never will be a third world country.
Right.
Which is a globally proven fact, which the world may not agree, but the fact remains that our brains, our hard work beat anybody else in the world.
Right, sir. So just extending that, because this looks interesting. See, we know that America, the US, is an economy size of about 80 to 90 trillion now. Okay, you have the economy of China now almost catching up. It's reached about 9 to 10 trillion, and they would be crossing the 10 trillion mark shortly,
right.
And then we see Germany and Japan lying at the 4.5, 5 trillion. Then we would see somewhere in Italy at 3 trillion. So we have caught up. We are at 2 trillion now.
Right.
So in that zone,
Yeah.
So, and the path is not about the 2 trillion, but the next jump, the leap,
True.
which would be straight away 4 trillion in barely 3 years.
That's right.
So this type of movement in the economy, and that today I would say the index is about 270 gigawatt,
Right.
So we are looking at an index of about 400 to 500 gigawatt.
That's
So
right.
that's a kind of a massive scale up,
Yeah, basically
move
it's
the
an
economy.
explosion.
Yeah.
It's an explosion.
Yeah,
We would term that as an explosion because from 250 gigawatts going to 4,000, 5,000 gigawatts, it's basically an explosion, yes. Certainly it is, but we have to move towards it if we want to be what we want to be.
right,
Just talking and doing nothing will not help us.
right, right,
We have to move towards it, and we all have to play a role and part into it.
right.
And we strongly believe and pray that NOUAM plays a role into it, even if it is the minuscule role, but we would love to play a role in that group.
Right. So one of the things that has come in is that NOUAM has been planning it. You've been talking about it with us, at MARKENOMY exclusively. But now on this ENFRA show, it's going to the entire world market.
Right.
You've been saying that you would look at a corpus of roughly 2 billion over maybe
Yes.
2 or 3 years time.
That's what we are looking at.
Yeah, yeah. So that's
what I
quite a
mean.
sizable.
It is quite a big piece, quite a big chunk of bite what we have taken.
Right.
But that's what we want to do and achieve, and God willing, we will achieve that
Right.
point, because for us, that is a drop in the ocean of what the whole country needs.
Right.
But we want to be that drop.
Right. So do you think, we need innovative financing? Because it has been seen that in India, especially, the banking sector was not very kind enough to the power and infrastructure sector.
The banking sector has not been kind to any of these sectors, Professor.
Right. But they almost, many times, I'm sorry, I'm a little aggressive, it's a Pani Puri shop they want to open, they want quick results.
Yeah, like the bank.
So we have been in the media critical about this.
Exactly, we have to be more open-minded towards our banking sector.
Yeah, a need for the infrastructure people.
That's right.
They are investing in the country's assets.
Absolutely, because that's how the country will grow. Otherwise, on what basis? If you don't have the infrastructure, how will you grow the country?
Right.
If you don't have the energy, how will you grow the country?
Absolutely.
How will everything run in this country if there's no energy, there's shortage of energy?
Right.
How will you run your plants, machineries and everything?
Right. So,
If you don't have power, how will you do it?
right. Because we know our Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji transformed Gujarat using energy and electricity.
See that now?
And see the
It's a living
result.
example.
Yeah, it is so widespread that the agriculture sector was impacted. And I can tell you the same has happened in Punjab. If you see many years back, when the Bhakra and all this were built,
Right.
what happened, it triggered off the 3 states. They went separate, Punjab, Haryana, Himachal.
Right.
But we all saw that. Tehri did the same benefit to, I would say, the Uttarakhand and these areas. So electricity has been anyway the driver, as you rightly said.
It has to be.
It is the economic driver.
Absolutely. If you don't have electricity, you won't have output.
Absolutely.
If you have no output, there's no growth.
Right.
And if there's no growth, then let's forget our dreams of becoming what we want to become.
Right. So if you want to be a superpower economy, what you're saying is, then you power your energy sector, the power
Exactly.
sector, and the infrastructure sector.
That's right. And where the Indian banks have to play their roles, which they have not been playing till date.
You're right.
They have been very conservative in their dealing.
Yeah.
Very, very conservative. They have to, fine, they have to do their diligence, they have to do the other things what they want to do, but at the same breath, they have to open up.
Yeah.
They have to ease down certain things so that the person can really go ahead and do it. The debt sector is killing these sectors. The
Yeah.
debt is
We're
killing.
looking at 15 to 16% on an average.
How do you expect to make money?
And whereas our neighbor China, the cost of money in working capital terms is also 3.5%.
Exactly.
So how do you compete
That's right.
in that environment?
Right.
Right.
You cannot. Under no circumstances you can.
So can I say safely that NOUAM is going to completely come here and play the tipping point and the changing role to just dynamize this sector
We'll certainly do
in terms of just doing innovative financing?
That's what our intentions are, and that's what we are trying to do.
Right.
That's what we are trying to do.
Right. So you are going to give tailor-made solution for every corporate depending on the needs, or every infrastructure company that comes up in front of you. Specific tailor-made proposals or solutions for them.
Professor, let me put it this way. Like, as no human being on the earth can wear the same shirt,
Absolutely.
tailor-made shirt, the same way no corporate can be given the same tailor-made
Absolutely.
solutions.
You need to find a specific solution.
You need to find specific solutions for the corporate.
And it is here I see the flexibility of the bankers doesn't exist, whereas the flexibility of a company of your caliber comes into picture.
Yeah, the reason being is that the banks are still dealing with the rules laid down way back, which was laid 40 years ago, 50 years ago.
Right.
Right? We have not moved ahead, the banks and institutions have not moved ahead with time.
Right.
On the general basic category, maybe on the upper section, yes.
Right.
But I'm talking about the basic, general, every day-to-day need and everything. They have not moved along.
Right.
They have to.
Absolutely.
Our government has to help, ask the banks to move forward and see where things can be structured specifically and tailor-made for each and every individual client. I believe the institutions should have a section where every corporate who needs something, there's a particular team, a specialized team which looks into the thing, studies their profile, their projects and everything, works on the thing and then finds a way to give them the best possible solution, A, B, C, and then work out along with it.
Right. So going forward on this whole line, we are seeing that as per Modi ji's government's, the new government's plan, by 2032, we have seen that they will add to solar and the total capacity index will be about 800 gigawatt,
Right.
So we are looking at something like maybe we'll have on our plate 1000 gigawatt by 2032.
Right.
And by 2022 we should safely look at 500, 600 gigawatt. That would mean adding transmission infrastructure and also the standard infrastructure of roads and other things which are coming to. We're looking at a $4 trillion kind of a size of movement, which could trigger the economy off to a 10 trillion economy. That means what today's China's size is, we are looking at 2022 the size of India.
That's right.
And this moment, when I say this, China would not be moving very quick ahead. It would be stabilizing itself and India would be catching up.
Right.
So it is here that the role of NOUAM is interesting, for all of us.
I hope so that what we try to do is appreciated by the corporates we are trying to work along with and other innovative ideas which you're bringing for other people also. I hope that it is appreciated and it gives fruitful results so that things start to change. There's, like for every revolution, there's one person who stands up and starts it. It's not the crowd which starts.
Right.
So maybe I'm one,
NOUAM
is that one.
But you've taken the risk onto yourself. Calculated one?
It's a calculated risk, Professor. But if there's no risk,
there's no life.
No life.
For sure.
There's no glory.
Yeah, for sure. So, one last question for you,
Sure.
On this entire interview. What do you suggest? What is your one view to the government on quickly bringing, let's say, roads, ports, airports, and having a roadmap for it over the next 5 years and the next 7 years?
See, I would request the government, since they have shown so much of initiative and our Honorable Prime Minister has taken trips across the globe right now to talk to developed countries and taking their help in restructuring the country. And I would request the government if they can make for such projects a single window project.
Right.
Right, where you don't have to go from one department to 36 departments to get 36 clearance. One place and you get it done from there.
Right.
We cut on time, we cut on cost.
Right. So what you're effectively saying is what ease of doing business means, you just get single point clearances for everyone, especially the investor community.
Absolutely, because that will save the cost.
Right.
The overall cost of doing anything, that will save everything. If I can reduce my cost, the costing of the project or the product will also go down.
Absolutely.
And that's a win-win situation for all.
Right. Lovely, Karan sir. It was a wonderful time meeting you. It's a short interview. And I promise you that this was a short interview with Karan Jaji, and we'll come back with a much bigger interview after some time. Till then, bye-bye for now on this Infra show with my eminent guest and one of the most prominent faces that you would see in the PEI sector, as he rightly puts. Bye-bye for now, and see you in my next Infra show interview.
Thank you.